We are Man vs. Meeple, and for September 11th through the 24th, this is What's Next.
Welcome back to What's Next, the bi-weekly show where David and I walk you through all the games coming to your friendly local gaming store. We have an extremely diverse list of games this week.
Yes, that is true.
You want to start off with number 5?
I'll start with number 5. We're going to have a little dexterity. We've got a little, not many Euros, but number 5 is definitely a dexterity game. This is Flip Ships from Renegade Games. This is a 1 to 4 player game, 45 minutes, purely co-op. And I know you've played Space Invaders because, like me, you're old. Not quite as old, but these cards are laid out on the board basically representing the alien ships kind of marching down at everybody. You're taking turns, literally, flipping ships off of this little pedestal or off of the edge of the table, landing them on these alien ships. The cool thing is, and I haven't played it, but the cool thing sounds like there's a bunch of ship upgrades. So you can actually get different tokens so that when the ships land on the cards, they have different abilities, maybe wiping out whole rows or columns or things like that. Haven't tried it, but I definitely want to try this, and I'm not even a big dexterity guy.
There's a mothership, too, from what I understand.
Yeah, mothership, that's kind of like where the whole thing leads to. Okay. I mean, we've got to try this for sure.
Very cool. I have another dexterity game. This one is a mashup from the original Flick 'em Up and Dead of Winter. It's a very cool mashup. It is a 2 to 10 player game. It's almost purely cooperative. There is a competitive aspect, but there's 10 scenarios that are built into the game, and it progressively teaches you as you play each of the different scenarios. Now, the original Flick 'em Up had really nice wooden components. This one has been done purely in plastic, but I have to say, I've opened the box, I've looked inside. These plastic pieces are chunky. They're really cool. The stickers on them make it really, really thematic. It looks very, very cool.
Do you think this is hopefully going to be the beginning of a Flick 'em Up series of other
I
Flick 'em
hope
Up
so.
mashups?
I mean, I like, when I play dexterity games, this is the type of game I want to play. It's very thematic. It makes you involved in the universe. It's got really cool buildings and you know, different kind of components in the game. So.
Yeah, another dexterity game that we'll definitely have to try.
All right.
What's number 3?
I do have number 3. Now, this is another Richard Garfield game. We just played Bunny Kingdom a month ago and really loved it, so I'm drawn to him. He's the designer of Magic the Gathering. This is a 2 to 4 player game. It can be played as a purely standalone 4-player game, or it can be played in teams.
Oh.
Now, it is a card drafting hand management game in which players are going to have a tableau of cards in front of them with 4 different sectors, and you're going to be trying to complete these sectors and get mission points for them. The cool portion is that there is a drafting system. On your turn, you're either recruiting new people into your hand or you're deploying people to your tableau. When you recruit, you look at one of the 3 stacks starting from left to right. If you look at that stack, you can take cards from it or you can pass. When you pass, you have to place another card, which makes it juicier for the next player. So you can go through all 3 stacks, placing more cards for the next player, which will be your opponent in the game.
Cool.
It's a very cool game. We've already played it as a 2-player game. Super excited to play it in teams.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got number 2. This is Sentient from Renegade Games. This is definitely not a dexterity game.
No.
And this does have some Euro qualities, although the theme doesn't feel very Euro. In this one, it's sort of far future. You're not only building robots, but it's all about fitting your robots into a network. And the robots are these cards that everyone is basically kind of drafting out there, which has a little bit of an area control mechanism. Again, one of the first Euro aspects. But then you're taking these cards and you're placing them in this tableau in front of you. And the tableau has dice that you've rolled at the beginning of the game that have set numbers on them. And when you take a card, it's going to manipulate those dice. It's also going to score and trigger off of the dice that it's surrounded by. So it's purely about manipulation. I mean, there's more manipulation in this game than most other games combined. You place the card, you're trying to figure out where you can best place the card, how it's going to adjust those dice, and the die that's on one corner of the top is shared by the next card, so you kind of have to try to build some synergies so that you're scoring as many of those cards as possible.
Right.
Then on top of that, at the end, you look where everyone took the cards from, and there's an area control aspect where you're taking tokens, and some of the end game scoring triggers off of your set collection of those tokens.
Yeah.
A lot of really cool scoring things going on in this, and a really kind of unique, interesting theme for a more Euro-y sort of game.
Yeah, we both played this and liked it quite a bit. Number 1. This is one of my, this is a second part to one of my favorite games of all time. This is a kind of a remake or a retheming of Letters from Whitechapel. It's called the Whitehall Mystery. Now, the theme of this game is that in 1888, when they were building the police station near Whitehall, they found some remains of human body parts. And
reopen the investigation?
And that police station is basically what is Scotland Yard today. So the difference in this game is that in the original Letters from Whitechapel, you would pick a location as Jack on what would be your home base. And here, there's 4 very distinct murder locations. So you're deciding at the very start which one of these murder locations you want to let the investigators know that you've gone. You have an X number of days to get to the next murder location, but they don't know which one you're going to. As the game progresses, you're going to be blocking off these murder locations so they know exactly where your 4th one's going to be, and then it's about surrounding them and trying to cordon you off from getting to that location. And there's player powers just like the original. The investigators all have powers. Jack, of course, has new powers. There's some water trains in this which he can traverse. Super excited. I love Letters from Whitechapel. It's one of my favorite deduction games.
Yeah, we'll have to try this one. I love the idea that it sort of has this built-in tension that builds towards the end. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. All right, we have more questions from our viewers, and I will start off with the first question. It's actually a Euro question.
Yeah, it's very relevant to today's episode.
It's from Kevin. He says, because I know you guys really like Euro games, when you do focus on a non-Euro game, I really sit up and take notice. Like many things, it's all about knowing people's perspectives. Well, that's true, and I understand what your question may be asking is, do we want to cover more games that are not non-Euro?
Yeah.
And we may.
Yeah.
It really depends on the game itself. We like all types of games. Yes, we're drawn to Euros, but if it's a good, meaty game that has a lot of good gameplay to it, we're going to review it on the channel. So just be patient with us. We are going to try to extend out. I know you're super excited for the new Star Wars miniatures games from FFG.
I am.
That's completely non-Euro based.
And it's something I've never tried, but it's really drawn me, and I want to try that. So you're going to see that sort of content. And here on What's Next, you'll see a lot of things. I mean, today we talked about flip ships and flick 'em up.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on games that are of note, whether they're Euros or not. Now, admittedly, we are drawn to the Euros, so there will be a decent mix there.
All right, your question.
Yeah, our next question is really not much of a question. It's more of someone pointing something out, which we really appreciate. This person, Christopher McKeon, says, check out Brooklyn Game Lab in New York. It's an awesome game store after school.
Yeah.
So what I want to say here is, please use our comments to share some of this information about game stores that you particularly like. We want to feature them. We're kind of bouncing back and forth between featuring a friendly local game store and answering some of your questions. But the more of those game stores we get, we'll look into them, get some pictures, see what they're all about, and try to get those featured on the channel. So thank you for sharing, and please, everyone else, share if you'd like.
Yep. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll have another What's Next. Subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and everything else that we do here at Man vs. Meeple, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.